Pakistan to attend a Defense Day on September 6th, 2014 for the sacrifices of the armed forces, the soldiers of Pakistan Army, Pakistan Air Force and Pakistan Navy. So we will start our today's discussion with the name of Almighty Allah. हमारे आज के शुरका, हमारे गेस्ट जो हैं, they are from the Pakistan Armed Forces, from Pakistan Navy and Pakistan Army, and honorable member of the National Assembly. So I'll introduce you. On my left, I have Honorable Siraj Muhammad Saab, MNA from Nowshera, Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf. Then we have Vice Admiral Ahmed Tasneem Sahab. Then we have Brigadier retired Sayyid Mian Mahmood Sahab, Brigadier retired Mian Mahmood Sahab. And then we have Brigadier retired Sayyid Masood Hassan Sahab. A topic of discussion for today's event, for the Yom Difa, for the Defense Day, is about the sacrifices of the soldiers in Zarb-e-Azam and in all the wars from the day one, from the day of independence and before the independence, what our soldiers and armed forces did for our beloved country Pakistan. And especially this talk show is for the overseas Pakistanis and for their kids, those who were born and raised, or those who were born in Pakistan and raised in America, Europe, Middle East or Africa, and who don't have enough knowledge about Pakistan or about the sacrifices of the Pakistan Armed Forces. Secondly, nowadays there is a conflict or dispute. I shouldn't say it is between the real civilians and the people from the defense. 180 million people of Pakistan, they are with the armed forces of Pakistan, and some groups in international media, they are planning something to defame our beloved armed forces. So I will start my discussion with Honorable Member of the National Assembly, Siraj Muhammad from Tehreek-e-Pakistan. सर, आप कुछ कहना चाहें योम दिफा पाकिस्तान के हवाले से?
बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम. We will talk about our forces, and this is there is no second thought about it that there are problems between civilian or politician and the forces. We all are with Pakistan forces, and this is Pakistan force. Even now we have a flood situation in Pakistan, and you will find them rescuing people from different areas. And since 1965, I remember at that time I was a first year student, and when I see the photo of General Ayub Khan just now, everything was in front of me like a revision of a movie. I remember everything what happened in 1965, and if we start talking about all these courageous steps what the forces have taken from day one until now, so this I think we have to stay for very long. The only thing I can say that we are always and all the time with the armed forces of Pakistan, all forces of Pakistan, and there is no dispute about anything among either in the civilian or the politicians. No matter whoever is making this kind of problem, that is their own creation of mind, whatever they are saying, but we have no such, we have not heard until now, and we are all the time together with the armed forces.
साथियों
Ahmed Tasneem Saab to give his views about the Defence Day and the sacrifices of the soldiers.
डिफेंस डे बड़े सालों से मनाया जा रहा है. Essentially 1965, very briefly, because I want to cover more on our operation in Waziristan, just as a naval officer. और जो मेरी अपनी my own is that जज्बा जिसको कहते हैं, जिसको मोटिवेशन कहते हैं, ये it was supreme example of our people and the nation and its support to the armed forces. Not that it doesn't exist today, but 65 was a real symbol. I was only a lieutenant serving in Al-Sabri Plaza, which was off Bombay, trying to fight Indian ships. And we heard the speech of President Ayub Khan, I remember 12 o'clock. To the best of my memory, it was in English. But our sailors who didn't even understand English were absolutely motivated because it was in simple language and from the tone of the President you could pick up the support. And there was a coordination among the three services. The proof is the submarine which takes 4 to 5 days. When the war was declared, was already at the war station. So actually, I think there's a very good coordination. Now we come to the present. There are two instances which I want to say, although I stopped coming on these shows 3 years ago, but I changed my mind when ये मुझे मैं कराची में था 2-1 महीने पहले और एक फैमिली को मिलने गया, वो बड़ी रिच, किसी में कोई काम था, है भी आपके सूबे में कंस्ट्रक्शन में. तो मैं 2-3 भाइयों से मिला. अचानक another person walked in, उन्होंने कहा meet Captain so-and-so. So I was a bit surprised, taken aback. They are millionaires, billionaires. Do you know भाई बिजनेस कर रहे हैं, बाप भी कर रहा है, एक बेटा जो है फौज में. मैंने उसको खरीदा. मैंने यार फौज. So I tell you, tears came to my eyes when he told me, sir, money is not everything. There is something to service the country. I feel we're joining up, and therefore, by virtue of this presentation, I really want to salute all the young officers who are in Waziristan. And from his look, because I have been in SSG, I knew that he is doing something very special, some operations. I really, tears came to my eyes with joy, and I say, जब तक ऐसे जवान हमारे पास हैं, वो भी किसी का बेटा था, किसी का भाई था, ये मुल्क जो है ये सिर्फ. दूसरी बात मैं ये करना चाहता हूँ कि मैं लाहौर कैंटोनमेंट जाता हूँ, बाकी कैंटोनमेंट भी जाता हूँ. कैंटोनमेंट में आजकल सिक्योरिटी है, ये जो हमारे फौजी इंस्टीट्यूशन है, बेसिस है, जो सिक्योरिटी है, लोग और खासकर हमारे सिविलियन भाई रियलाइज नहीं करते कि वो जो सर्जरी ड्यूटी करता है, वो 12 घंटे खड़े होकर ड्यूटी करता है, वो धूप में ड्यूटी करता है, वो तूफान में ड्यूटी करता है, वो बारिश में ड्यूटी करता है, वो गर्मी में ड्यूटी करता है और वो सर्दी में ड्यूटी करता है. 12 घंटे खड़े हैं और वो मोबाइलों में बिजी नहीं होता है, कड़क ड्यूटी करता है. एंड आई वॉन्ट टू अगेन सल्यूट these security guards of all three services, soldiers, sailors, airmen, FC, police, who do this very thankless duty in our cantonments, in our bases, and our other sensitive points. अब मैं आखिरी बात महमूद साहब ज्यादा कहेंगे. ये जो हमारा एक्शन हो रहा है वजीरिस्तान, इस बारे में कहूँगा, कैलकुलेट हो रही आज तक, and I must say, compliment the senior leadership of armed forces, casualties, Air Force bases में हुई है, उधर भी एक हमारी senior leadership ने रैंक एंड फाइल से मिल के फील्ड विजिट करके उनका बुरा अपना है. अभी तक इतनी कैजुअलिटीज हुई हैं, ये हमारी दोनों जम्मू से ज्यादा हो गई और जूनियर ऑफिसर्स की कैजुअलिटीज बहुत ज्यादा एज कम्पेयर टू सीनियर्स. बट आई थिंक द मोरल फुल मार्क्स द लीडरशिप ऑफ आर्म फोर्सेस इज अप. उनकी मोटिवेशन इज अप. दे आर विलिंग टू डाई सो दैट हमारा वक्त तो गुजर गया. Our children and their children के लिए peace in this country.
तुम्हारा है, तुम हो पास इसके, ये चमन तुम्हारा है, तुम हो नग़्मा इसकी, ये बदन तुम्हारा है, तुम हो पास इसके.
Now I request Brigadier B.M. Mahmood Sahab.
I want to start off by saying that what our generation has seen, no generation before us has seen that, and no generation after us will ever see that. Why I maintain that? Because as young students in college, we took part in the struggle for the creation of Pakistan. We were actively participants for the movement for the creation of the country. Then we saw in front of our own eyes the emergence of Pakistan as a country. The next thing what I want to say is that the whole story of Pakistan started by the Red Cliff Awards, and I think hashed between Mountbatten, Nehru and Radcliffe to deliberately give India a piece of territory which was Gurdaspur area, Muslim majority area of Punjab, into the boundary lines of India, so that they are given an access to Kashmir. All these plans had been already hatched before even the creation of the country. The second thing what the British did, that they had a joint command of both the armies with Field Marshal Auchinleck as being the overall head of the command. Auchinleck set two standards, one for the Indian Army, one for the Pakistan Army. The Indian Army actively conspired with Nehru and Patel to be prepared to be able to act into Kashmir. And Pakistan Army was restrained by Musawi and by his successor, General Gracie, that Pakistan Army should not commit itself in Kashmir, because if it does that, there is a threat that it will result into an all-out war between India and Pakistan. So those were the circumstances under which the Kashmir struggle started. Why I want to go back to the Kashmir struggle, I'll come back to 65 and 71. Because there is a malicious campaign going on against Pakistan, and it can be described under the head of global social warfare, where a sophisticated campaign has been unleashed to describe that Pakistan Army has lost all the wars and that it is not capable of fighting anyone. I just want to say this, and unfortunately some of our media and I think some of the political elements of the country, they seem to be also acting on this very agenda. I don't want to dilate too much on that. I will, having given this brief background, I will describe the Kashmir operation in its very synopsis. Indian Army, having moved in under a conspiracy well planned, General Manekshaw has given all the details now, they are available, that they had already made all the preparations to fly out the Indian Army into Srinagar whenever the opportunity sort of demanded. Having arrived there in Srinagar, and the mistake that Pakistan made, I think the basic mistake, that when the tribal Lashkars, instead of occupying the Srinagar airport, I think they wasted their time. I think that was some very important moments that we lost, and that is how the Indians managed to land their troops at Srinagar airport. But if the Lashkars which had come, if they had gone straight for occupied it, the opportunity for the Indians to land in Kashmir would have arisen. But anyhow, that is something that has happened in history. Indians occupied Pandu feature, which was the most dominant feature in Uri. And if their further progress had not been checked, they would have reached Muzaffarabad on one end and Punch on the other side. But luckily, these dedicated soldiers, they recaptured the Pandu feature from the Indian army, and I think that was the zenith of the fighting as far as Kashmir was concerned in that sector. Indians tried to again launch a summer offensive, trying to link Pandu with Punch, but even that failed. So once these two major offensives of the Indian army failed, they tried to make a link with Punch, because Punch was under siege by the volunteers and by the tribesmen. So in order to break the siege, the Indian army planned an operation from Jammu to link Punch with Jammu from the southern side. At that time, General Akbar and General Sher Khan, they made a lot of presentation to the government that the government must take timely action against it. Unfortunately, no timely action was taken. And the Indians managed to bring in their troops and they managed to relieve the siege of Punch. Now, under those very adverse circumstances, when the Indians managed to relieve even the siege of Punch, Pakistan Army volunteers, and I think again I would single out a British general, Major General Tottenham, who was commanding 7th Division, that he took his personal initiative, defying the orders of the Commander-in-Chief. He voluntarily went into Kashmir and organized a counterattack plan so as to counter the Indian offensive. The Indians, though they had made the link from Jammu to Punch, but it was a very vulnerable link, because some over 100 miles of line of communication was vulnerable to be cut off at many places. He picked on the point of Beri Patan, and all the offensive that he planned was to capture Beri Patan. He collected 25,000 people, including tribesmen, including some soldiers of the Azad Kashmir, and some regular volunteers. And the actual attack started. After the artillery fire had been lifted, the Indians vacated the whole area up to Beri Patan. And it was only for the Pakistan personnel, whatever riff-raff 25,000 they had, to go and occupy Beri Patan. It would have cut the Indians, between Jammu and Punch. At that time, never realizing